Hey everybody, it's Will. We're back with another edition of Creators Outlet right here on the Outright Geekery Podcast Network. Before we jump into the loaded show we have tonight, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, SpinWiz Comics at spinwizcomics.com. It is a webcomic and indie comic discovery platform. You can download it for free on your phone or tablet, both iOS and Android available, and it's loaded with well over 400 free comics for you to read. That's right, I said free comics. Go check it out for yourself, but not right now. Right now, we're going to dive in with the guys from, do we call it Waco or Waco?
Waco.
Is it Waco because it's a Texas thing, right?
Yeah.
It's Waco.
Okay, good. You only get called Waco when you're late.
Yeah.
My bad.
So how did you guys all get together? Were you like longtime friends or just internet friends and then came together that way, or what happened?
I met Danny through a local other art organization that was trying to dive into like the con scene and stuff and the pop culture scene. So that's kind of how we met and linked up.
Yeah.
And then I don't know when Joey came into play.
No, it was
Joey
about
was
2017. I was working at a comic book store restaurant.
Yeah.
And they were at a drink and draw, and I had the inkling that I wanted to write, and I saw these guys. Like I was like bringing cups and plates over. They were like doodling these things. I looked over, like, oh my god, it's amazing. So I started bugging Danny for a little while, and then I started bugging Armando, and then slowly but surely, here we are. A couple years later,
he wore us down. Us down.
Yeah.
Like, fine,
Okay,
shut up.
I was working at a comic book store. Actually, I was a waiter because waiters are either writers or actors. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're glad he did though. We're glad he wore us down because.
Oh yeah.
So you guys adopted the waiter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how long have you? How long has the group been cranking out comics?
We've
We
been
started-
at it for over a year now.
Yeah.
But so we've got stories under our belt. We just don't have books yet. We're launching our first book right now as we speak.
Yeah.
And it has been funded.
It has been fully funded
Yep.
on Kickstarter. Yes. Now
Yeah,
we're
pretty cool.
aiming for stretch goals.
I saw one of your fans posted it in one of the comic groups I'm in. I was telling Armando before you guys popped in, and he posted it, and I saw it and commented. I go, "Oh, that's awesome!" He's like, "Yeah, this is great." I go, they're on my podcast tonight. You should really go check it out. And then I went back in there. I'm like, Armando just shared the link. Get in the live chat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, like Danny said, the guy said over a year, we whenever we'd hang out, we'd talk about ideas and stuff. But of course, we all had kind of other things going on at the time. But then we kind of just decided to start being serious about it, So,
And I think for us, putting together. Like the reason why we're only getting one book out right now is because we had so many ideas that we decided to sit down and say, hey, what if we just create an entire universe with a 0-point book that branches out and shows everything?
yeah.
It allows for everything to exist from here on going forward.
And that way down the road, you can have crossover events with other people in the universe, and they can,
Exactly.
they can do one of those like little cameos, like way in the background on like one panel.
Yeah.
And nobody knows it. And then you guys are toting around 9.8 slabs of this one book at the convention when we open up next year.
Yeah.
Well, because Joey kept coming to us with, oh, yo, I've got this character, and yo, I've got this character, and I've got this character, and I've got this character. And they were all really great ideas. And we all sat down one night, and I was like, look, this is how DC did it. This is how Marvel did it. They had these one characters, and then they had to go back and make a cohesive universe out of it. So I told Joey, this is our starting point. Why don't we start with our cohesive universe, and then we can branch out from there? We don't have to go back and rejigger the whole thing to make everything fit. We can make it fit from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do this basically this 0 hour issue, and then everything else builds like Legos.
Right.
And hopefully you don't step on any of them because they hurt like hell.
Yeah.
True.
So before we look at the Kickstarter, tell us a little bit about the premise of this Launch Point book.
Okay, Joey.
That's you, Mr. Writer. Oh, he froze.
Did he freeze?
This is great.
There he is. He's breathing.
He's kind of breathing.
He's alive. Can you hear us, Joey?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you talk about the premise of the book, of the Plus universe, Joey?
Yes, sir. Am I good? Are we good?
Somewhat.
Is everything all right? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you guys. Is everything all right, dudes? Take over for a second. All right, are we still having a problem?
Yeah, we're still on.
Dude.
Yeah, we're still on. You're just freezing up a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you guys tell us about the book?
Let me, Danny, take over for a second. Let me see if I can get this fixed up real fast, okay?
All right. So, no, it's fine.
Sorry,
it's fine. The Plus Universe Alpha book is our launch point book. It explains the current state of heroes and how they came to be, the origins of this entire universe. It sets forth the human race, alien races, godlike beings, and deities, and how they bestowed upon specific people or specific persons enhancements and abilities. There's all kinds of just various artifacts and mystical abilities that permeate throughout the entire book. It really does set the ground for our stories going forward, which come out of mythology, out of pulp heroes, out of spy categories, old Arthurian legend, some urban characters that tackle tough subjects that are happening today. We've got characters from Native American backgrounds, Hispanic backgrounds that take on challenges as just normal people. It really is about how people overcome their the troubles in front of them, for not just themselves but for the community and people around them.
The impacts they have,
right?
Going through the entire world, yeah.
And with this first book, it really it kind of explores the dichotomies between good and evil, and how at a certain to everyone you're the hero of your own story, and kind of pushes that envelope a lot. And then we launch into the stories going forward from there.
And this one's funded already.
Yeah.
Right, he's is he back? Are you back, Joe?
You're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Yeah.
Okay, we're fine. Not bad. I was trying to run it off my phone and it was dying, and that was the issue. So we're good now. We're fine. My bad. Way to go, Danny.
Okay, so Danny was telling us all about the book and how it's set up. The various people, alien races, humans, all different, heroes from all different ethnic backgrounds and communities, going forward. And so anything to add?
Yeah, it was really just a culmination of a lot of inspirations that we all had. So we all have so many years of experience of just not just only reading comics, but just outside culture from anime, movies, television shows, novels. You're going to see a lot of hints of those in there with a lot of twists, and it's going to be really cool and really unique. So I'm really excited to see it, and I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, I love Easter eggs when I spot them, because
yeah, for sure.
Just like bing, because that's the only knowledge I have is comic books, TVs, cartoons, and movies.
Yeah.
What's cool is nowadays it's all starting to blend together.
Yeah. Now I actually flip through the channels, trying to find something that's not based on a comic book to watch, just to mix it up a little bit,
Yeah.
So, how did you guys first discover comics? What drew you into the medium?
I'll go first. I think what started it for me was I think I had the classic story. I walked into a comic book store one day with my dad, picked up 2 issues. From there, I was kind of hooked. I was always kind of into the classic mythology and lore, and superheroes was just a totally different thing. I couldn't get enough of it.
Was there one particular character that just kind of like?
The Ultimate Spider-Man series is the most memorable one. That was around 7 or 8 years old when that came out. So that was my first series I
wow.
My bad, y'all. My bad.
Freaking old.
We're old.
I think I was like 28 when that came out or something.
Jeez. Yeah, for me, I was kind of just born into it. My dad had a whole collection, and I grew up on reading Savage Sword magazine, Conan.
Oh, nice.
That was my jam growing up, and seeing all the artists getting their starts in there, like Mike Zeck and Neil Adams and stuff like that, while they were doing other things, and then going up into like X-Men, Arthur Adams, stuff like that. Just all kinds of comics, and like Joey said too, just literature and classic literature and Greek mythology and stuff like that. So TV shows, growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, like that's what I kind of grew up with. So I mean, I was just involved.
The X-Men cartoon, Batman the animated series.
Yeah, just all that. So
what about you, Danny?
This is gonna age me so much right now. But my first experience was with the old. I'm not this old, but they played them in syndication. The old Filmation Batman cartoons.
I own them.
Those things, I would catch them on syndication in the mornings, and the old '60s Marvel cartoons and the Spider-Man cartoons from the '60s, and they would go off the air, because they were over, and I would want to keep them around. So I just picked up a pencil and drew my friends to stay around. I didn't want the cartoons to end, and I didn't know at the time. I was 3 years old. I didn't know at the time that comics existed for at least another 3 or 4 years, and that's when my dad took me to the old Golden's Comic Exchange and just this wall of color and characters, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. I still went back to the animation part because they were starting to show Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, The Incredible Hulk. There was all the anime on in the afternoon, like Gatchaman or G-Force, depending on where you live, Star Blazers, Robotech. Every once in a while, I'd get lucky and catch an episode of Voltron. And then just growing up with it, I just fell deeper and deeper into it, into the whole thing. You mentioned Batman the Animated Series and Superman. The animated series, the Ruby Spears Superman, is it's one of my favorites. It's only 6 or 7 episodes. I hate that, or 13 episodes. It only lasted half a season, and the animation in there is so great. The old Fleischer Superman, I think all of that just really spoke to me, and it made me want to pursue like illustration and art and just be a part of comics in some manner, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Oh, Hector, I'm right with you. Hector, like used to watch the '60s Fantastic Four reruns.
Yeah.
And the old Super Friends.
The
By
Super Friends,
I'm
yeah.
sure he means
Right.
Wendy, Marvin, and Wonder Dog.
Yeah.
That was the first
The
series.
Challenge of the Super Friends. I would stop playing at 3:00 in the afternoon to go watch that.
Oh, I used to catch a beating from my friends because we'd be playing ball out in the street, and
Yeah.
I'd run in the house at like 3:00 because the '67 Spider-Man cartoon would come on. They go, no. My mom's she's not even home. She's not calling you. Well, I can make you feel younger, Denny, because I'm 51 next month, and I bought my first comic in 1974,
Oh wow!
and I still got it.
Oh nice.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Detective 447. It's got Creeper on the cover of Detective, and he's kicking the crap out of Batman.
That's awesome.
So
Favorite characters. I love it.
I've just, I just been hooked, ever since the first time when I was like 3 or 4, and the old Adam West Batman show would come on in reruns, and I was like,
yeah. I remember going to see Superman the movie in the theater.
mm-hmm.
When it first came out. I remember my mom took me, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah, my mom took me and one of my best friends to go see the Superman movie in the theater, and not one of these nice big theaters with the cushy seats. One of the ones that it was like 2 aisles, like 3 seats across, all the way down, like maybe 2 speakers that worked on the wall, and like a small screen. And we saw that there. We saw the first Tron movie there, and I used to. I never saw a comic book store until I was like 15. There weren't any around, and so my mother used to walk up to the pharmacy, before CVS bought everyone, and and we used to walk up there Sunday, and she would buy the paper and pick up her prescriptions, and she would give me my allowance, and I could go to the spinner rack in the middle and look to see what to buy. And I was, Amazing Spider-Man, I bought Spectacular Spider-Man off the spinner rack, #1. Batman, Detective. Every once in a while, I break down and buy an issue of Casper. Oops, we lost Armando.
Huh.
Well, that's okay. That's why we have so many people on.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember being able to walk 4 blocks from my house to the 7-Eleven. It was still a 7-Eleven, and they'd have a comic shelf that you could look through the comics. It wasn't even a spinner rack anymore. Because they had too many books. It was like one of those magazine racks where they just had books and books and books. So.
Oh, I was like 15, skipping school, and I was just cutting through downtown, and I walked by this comic shop, and I didn't realize it was a comic shop till I got 20 feet past it, and it was like ding 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 ding, and I turned around and it was like, oh my God, I found the treasure trove. Yeah. And not long after, I started working there. It's still my LCS, so it's been in business over 35 years.
Oh wow!
Awesome.
My friend that ended up being the manager of that ended up buying it off of the owner, because he was like, "Yeah, I'm all set with comic books. I'm moving on to something else." And he was, "You can either buy it or go get a real job." He's like, "Well, I guess I'll buy it." And it's still my go-to shop, and it's just great because a good portion of my friends from like this area that I live in are all friends that I met from that comic shop. Because there's nothing like the experience actually going into a comic shop.
Yeah, and again, that's how Joey stuck around. If he didn't work at that bookstore, like, get out of here.
because honestly, like, man, we'd get people, because we would have these drinking draws and people would come up to us all the time like, hey man, I got an idea, or like, hey, like, I've got this like book or novel or this video game that I want to make. Can you do the
and
cover?
It would just be an idea. It would just be an idea.
Like, so what do you got? Like, do you have like, concept art or scribbles? Or dude, Joey would come up with like, hey, stick figures, like, hey man, what do you think about, like, I know this isn't good, but and he was just hungry for it. What do you guys want me to read? What should I read?
He'd have at least a sample script, at least 6 pages ready to go, and just his explanation, the character breakdowns, the entire character history. Like, okay, calm down.
I can hear you guys walking in like, oh geez, the kid's here again.
Well, no, I got to think about it. How many times have they heard this story before? Like, how many people have they come up, and how do I be different? It's like the first thing I thought of is like, all right, I had to look up like, what did the people do that I read? What did they do whenever they first started out? And they treated it like it was like a job interview. So they came prepared. So that's just what I did. I had time to bug them, so it was all right.
Yeah.
And it's all worked out. And now you guys, after all that work and grinding down what was probably millions of ideas, thanks to Joey, and you got everything together, and we got this first book launched, and it's been funded.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, thanks to all the backers and the supporters, man. I was scared. I don't know if Joey and Armando was scared, but I was scared.
I was hella scared, because you guys have to understand, like, I have a good skill set and a good following and stuff, but mostly it's because I'm very sociable. But man, I consider Danny like a mentor to me. Like, anytime I'm like, hey man, like, what about this cover that I got for this gig, or like, what, I hit him up all the time, and like, he's so inspirational. And I'm like, man, if people don't like his art, like, we have no chance of launching, anything that I do, or that I, will try to do like on my own, or like anything, So I was nervous in that aspect, and I was nervous because, we didn't really we came into this, we didn't promote this at all before. We talked about it and we told people like, hey, we're starting this thing, but we didn't like make any posts, graphics, anything of the nature, because we kind of wanted to rely on our skill set and on our ability to tell a story and to introduce these characters. And the way that Joey and Danny set up the first book is fantastic, and it did exactly that. Like, so
Hector's telling us something about Bronze Man.
Yeah, he was pretty much the start of all this.
He's the catalyst of this universe.
There was a submission call for public domain superheroes from a publisher, and I was scrolling through the list, and this guy had only appeared in 2 issues. 2 appearances. I think like 6 pages total in his history. And his backstory had a lot of room to work with. So I brought the idea to Danny, and we went back and forth on it. I think about 3 or 4 months later, we had a submission ready. We sent it in, and we didn't hear anything back. And finally, a few months later, we heard something, and it was like, all right, cool, just tweak this, make these changes. And so we came back with something else, and the second submission went in, and it still got rejected. So from there, that was the catalyst. All right, let's do something on our own. Let's make a book how we would want to read it, and that was it.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the videos where Todd McFarlane talks about all his massive rejection letters. One of them's like, 6 pages long, double-sided. Crazy, just ripping them. He goes, You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 40 years later, he's got every toy license just about under the sun. I mean, he started out with the starting lineup stuff, and of course, the Spawn toys, and which I bought a couple of the old Spawn toys yesterday, so I was all excited.
Yeah, I think that's what's definitely kind of like fueled our fire a little bit too. Is because we were trying to do work with of course you want to work for like bigger companies or other you want to do these cool projects and stuff, and you submit, and you either don't hear anything or they say cool thing like that looks cool, and then that you don't hear anything from it or whatever, and that just kind of was like, well, all right, well, maybe we need to turn the direction into what we want to build and what we want to do, and work with people that we have good faith in and love their work and stuff like that. So it's kind of fueled our fire a little bit.
And a lot of times you're better off doing it yourself because publishers are going to want to, probably move away from your original,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
your original ideas on stuff, and and then the more you're working for a bigger publisher, the more hands get in that pot, and it changes everything. But you guys still have 23 days to go. 65 backers.
God.
You had a $4,000 goal, and today you hit 4101.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's great.
It is, and we're truly thankful. We were not expecting, we have in our group chat, we're talking about like, okay, man, like what do we do at the halfway mark when we're not funded? What are we gonna do to like push it? Like what I mean, we were thinking that direction, and of course everybody was supportive and loved it and shared it, and so we're very grateful and thankful for that. So
yeah.
Wow, and Danny's got his boy band picture up there too.
Yeah.
Joey.
It's like that's like at Peter Piper's, but it looks like futuristic.
It is a Peter Piper's.
It's all like blared out and stuff, so it looks like it's future, like he's in a Fifth Element or something.
Yeah, my fiance loves to take photography pictures, so anywhere I can go, she sets it up.
And Danny and his cat.
Yep.
He always has these really casual photos. So whenever we're like, hey, send the profile, he's like that, or him and his dog. And
yeah, I thought that was an accident at first, but no, he was for real about that one.
Yeah, I was thrilled about that.
Yeah, you're not even at your desk drawing or anything. You're just like,
I've got an Xbox. I've got a gaming controller in my hand.
Yeah.
So it's funny because Danny's the one that started the drinking draws, right? And he never draws at these things. Like he never draws at them. Like
it's the drinking part.
Yeah, he does the drinking part, and I'm like, dude, nobody's gonna believe that you draw, man. Nobody's gonna believe that you did this.
And is this a pinup of your original art right here too?
Yeah, that's I submitted that for the DC Fandom. That's Adam Strange.
Yeah, that's rad, man. I knew who it was, but
Yeah,
it's Danny.
Yeah, that's
crazy, man.
Oh, it's Smiley himself.
I'm terrible at pictures. I'm talking about Danny's pictures. I'm the worst. I was like, I don't know what, man.
Oh,
I was like, let me send this goofy picture. That's my wife. She has an antique wall. She owns an antique mall, so she has a whole wall of stuff. So maybe people will look away from that.
This is an Aquaman pinup you did. That's cool.
Yeah. That was for a charity for Inktober that will be open for bid for charity at the end of probably tomorrow or
probably tomorrow, right?
Yeah, probably tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
Tomorrow. Yeah, I know because I'm like I had some doctor's appointments coming up. Like
that's Hector. That's the letterer.
Oh, that's the guy chatting us up.
Yeah. He's one of our letters.
He should be doing them now.
Yeah, he should be doing them now.
Yeah. Well, he is. Technically, he is. He's putting letters together in the chat, and
there's Paris. Oh man, we were so like blessed.
We reached out to him just on a lark, hoping that he would say yes, because he works with DC, he works with Marvel, he's a freelance artist, and I know his schedule is really, really busy. And I was just like, guys, if this book is going to succeed, we've got to make sure the colors are legit. So we have to get a colorist.
Yeah, and that Static Shock piece next to him.
Yeah.
Shit.
Crazy, man. Yeah, so we were very fortunate that he.
I think Mondo's phone is dying now. He always sends me pictures, screenshots of his phone, and his phone battery's at like 2%. I'm like, how do you live like that?
And that's like my ex. Oh, I'm sorry, my phone wasn't charged. I go, yeah, I know you don't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to you either, but come on. He says he's lettering.
Good. I'm glad he's lettering.
Good, man, because these books are all sold. You got to catch up.
So here's the cover that we came up with.
That's awesome.
You did a great job on it, man.
Dude, I was wondering. I was like, man, what's Danny? Because Danny, I keep telling him, Danny, post work on Instagram, post something on. We never see it until he's like, hey guys, check this out, what I did. And it's just like a slap in the face. And oh my God, man! Now I've got to do my stuff, like try to do it up to par with that. So I was wondering. I was like, man, I wonder what he's gonna do for the cover. Like, because all the we've only seen like samples of the pages or parts of the pages, or the logo that he drew up and stuff. And he sent us that, and I was just like, oh hell yeah! Like, we're off to the races, man.
So. Tell us about these characters. Who's the guy front and center?
All right, that's Bronze Man. He's our staple. He's the main guy. He's the big guy in the middle.
He's our public domain character that launched. He's the idea that launched this entire universe. From him, everything else came.
Because the publisher turned you down. You go, screw it. It's my character now.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
And who are the two behind him?
All right, on the right, we have Black Toro. He is our Mexican luchador vigilante hero. He is super fun to write. He's pretty awesome.
Isn't that your favorite character, Joey? Like,
I think so, man. It's cool to me because I'm half Mexican, but I'm not really in root with my culture in that. But whenever I'm writing Black Toro, he's rooted in Mexico.
Yeah.
It allows me to kind of learn more about that culture, so it's fun. And I was a fan of wrestling whenever I was a kid, but I grew out of it. So writing it now, I get to kind of relive that. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. Joey's half Mexican. The rest of us aren't any Mexican at all.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, we always tease him because every idea we talk about, everything always comes back to Black Toro. Hey, we should do Black Toro. This. And I love the character.
He's a great character. I love him to death too.
Yeah. And Joey's just, hey, let's do this with Black Toro. It's like, okay, man.
I drink a lot of coffee. My bad.
That's awesome. Nah, but he feeds. He's the young buck that feeds our energy, man. Because we're old.
Yeah,
he's the one
definitely.
That keeps us awake.
Like anytime I feel a lull, Joey just. I don't know. I guess he's got like a ESP about it or something. He'll shoot an idea like, "Hey guys, real quick, what about this in the messenger?" And I'm like, "You know what? That's brilliant." And then like that, I'm re-energized.
Yeah, exactly.
And Joey's also the reason you have all that gray in your beard right now, huh?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. The one on the left, we have Lady Avelion. Her character is the modern Arthurian legend. She's really cool. We get to play with mythology, but kind of bring it into the modern realm. She's really awesome. The one right above her is Thunder Stallion. She is our Native American character. She's really cool. She's more of an environmentalist, so there's a lot of activism going on with her character, which is really, really cool. The one to their right is Lawbringer. He's really, really cool. He's going to be the one that Armando is going to be illustrating after the Plus U. He's going to have a book coming out with Armando illustrating that. He's our Space Ranger, Tokusatsu, Super Sentai inspired guy, and he's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
And then there's two more above on the very top.
Oh yeah. On the top right, we have Nihilus. He is the god of law and order. He is the one that's supposed to uphold the universal law. The one to his left is the god of gods, Dios, the one you commonly know as Zeus or Mercury. Jupiter. He's the head honcho. So he's the one that's in charge, but he's not the one that's necessarily leading the right direction. And there's a big disagreement going on with those two. And so that's one of the big conflicts going on in this story right here.
Oh, cool. So he is your Odin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, show.
Then we got like some sample pages.
Yep.
Well, this is what my mother said I was going to turn into, a TV, a head for a TV, and
Yeah. And speaking of how we said a lot of influence by pop culture and stuff, we actually had a question about the Scribe character, which is the TV dude. And they were like, "Isn't that the guy from MTV, blah blah blah, or something?"
from Saga, isn't that the guy from
Saga,
Prince something, whatever?
Yeah, and it's like, nah, it's but that's kind of what comics is. I mean, everything that has originated from like the first comics, and so it's good that people recognize it. That also gets people interested in your book too, I feel like.
This is a cool layout.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing. Whenever I saw the colors compares on this, he just put it all together and it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
He's got all the like the black seeping out of his eyes there.
Yeah, that was all Danny. Danny came up with came up with all the concept art for the characters, and that's all Danny. It's incredible.
And this, of course, would have to be Bronze Man.
That's right.
So, Joe, you want to explain that Bronze Man? Because that's a second bronze.
Yeah, so the story is also a bit of a generational tale. It introduces the first generation of superheroes, Bronze Man being the first. So he's the birth of them. And from there, he inspires a lot of others to rise up. And so that's what we get to see right here. With Black Toro, given his position where he is, he gets to see Bronze Man on TV, given a heroic speech, and that inspires him to turn his life around. And so, whenever he gets out of prison, he takes to the streets with Bronze Man message. Even though it's not acting the same way as he would, he's still inspired to go out and make a change in that way.
And of course, our luchador.
Mm-hmm.
Page 62. So, how big is this book?
I don't know.
This book, it started off. This is my fault. It started off as a 48-page book, and I read through the script.
Actually, yeah. It started off even shorter than that. And then when I gave him that, he was like, "All right, let's get to 48."
No, yeah. So it started off as a 22-page book, one shot, and I was like, there's so many characters in here. There's so much going on that you're trying to compress the story. Why don't you take a minute and let it breathe? And he said, all right, well, I can do that. And he went back and wrote up a 48-page book. And I was like, this is better. This is going to breathe more. This has a lot more story to tell. And we had agreed on that. So it was going to be a 48-page book. And I started laying out the thumbnails and drawing pages, started drawing layouts. And I got to a certain point and I was like, well, this conflict resolves itself way too easily. We need this part. So I went back to Joe. I was like, this can't be a one and done instance right here. This has to expand to show the real danger, the real, like there's actual stakes on the line here. We have to expand this part. And so that's my fault for asking him to do that. And I thought he was going to bring back like, okay, here's 5 extra pages explaining this. He brings back 16 pages of story, but it was really good. I managed to cut it down to about 13 pages, 12 pages, and now the book is sitting at 66 pages.
Are you sure? Is that where we were stopping? 66 pages?
That's where we're stopping for now, yeah.
I can just see one of you guys saying, no, we got to make it bigger.
Yeah. That was me, and that's my fault.
Why is it so many pages? Sequential art. Don't you know anything yet?
Well, okay, so that's the other thing. Like Joey has a lot of influence from manga and anime and movies and TV shows, and he does know how to write comics. He's getting that feel, but he still writes his scripts with motion, with video in mind.
Yeah.
And so in order to showcase a lot of those changes and shifts from scene to scene on page, you do have to take a couple of extra pages. So some of that stuff does grow beyond just the one page that he writes. There's some pages in the book where it started out as 1 page, and I was like, Joey, this isn't going to work. I have to make this like 2 pages, a 2-page spread or something. So there's a lot of scenes like that as well that expanded the book, is on top of me asking for more scenery to draw.
Well, I got this picture in my head, and I really want to put this in.
No, well, my background is whenever I was in high school, I wrote screenplays for One I Play. So stage plays are was my background for writing before I came into comics. So when I saw that the layout of the script is a little bit similar, the stage play still kind of bleeds in a little bit. I'm fixing it though. Don't worry.
No, he's getting it.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know? It's always a work in progress, though.
Yeah.
Like, the same way Danny and Armando will never be satisfied with any of their art because they always want to make it better.
I don't know. I've seen them throw away some stuff that people would pay so much money for, dude, and it's hurt. Like, they're like, how does this look? I'm like, that looks fantastic. Nah, they just start erasing it right there. It's like, I feel like you just did that on purpose.
Well, if they throw it in the trash, you grab it and then you put it in a flat press for a couple of days and just,
They're going to see it on eBay.
Yeah, just toss it up there. So let's take a look at the tiers. You get a $5 pledge, which will access behind-the-scenes live streams.
Yep.
Sketches, Q&As, and more. Oh, like this.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for donating, guys. You got the U Plus Alpha digital copy for $10. The U Plus Alpha softcover unsigned full color for $15. The signed of the same, $35. Softcover unsigned uncolored edition.
That's the raw edition where it's just black and white throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the sketchbook edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we have Armando's sketch cover for $60. Danny's sketch cover for $60. And new combo sketch cover package.
Corey's
we had a guy reach out to us like, hey, how do I get a sketch cover from each artist? And we were like, And we were able to create a tier in the Kickstarter where you could get one from each. So we added that this week, right?
Yeah, this week,
Yeah.
Yeah, because we totally didn't see it coming. We were like, oh, crap, we didn't think anybody would want both.
Nope. I was like, growing up, my dad always told me, look, you get one of these 2 He-Man figures.
Exactly.
You better make it count.
Oh, I know, right?
And how'd I end up with Stinkor?
Well, apparently you screwed up that week.
Yeah.
I did. Oh man, it was so bad.
And then you guys each have your own original commissions.
Yep.
Right.
For 150.
Right.
And an original page
From the book
for 200. Yep. And 500 you can get drawn into the comic.
That's already taken though.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things to go. Yeah.
Danny didn't want to put that in.
Man, I gotta do more work. Dude, you added like 38 pages to this book. And you could
I told him
I got to draw in a customer that's paying us. What the hell is this crap?
Yeah.
I told him just put a portrait in the thank you section, but he's gonna be a trooper and put him in the comic. So
I'm gonna put him in the book.
So
Joey, I'm gonna need 3 pages of script from you.
I got you. Full backstory, character history, and his life.
Full backstory, character, exactly.
Everything.
He's going to appear in the book and die in the 3rd panel.
Well, I mean, he can only appear in this book because we can't use his likeness going forward, not without some kind of proper release or something. So,
Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry guys.
So you guys got this laid out pretty damn well. So
oh man, Danny.
Good job, Danny.
Danny did all that layout stuff, and we were. I think the good thing about all of us working together is we like all the same stuff. We know what we want. We know what we've read and how we want to be different. And Danny hit us with this layout for it, and it was just exactly what we wanted. We wanted to focus on the book itself, and that's what he did, you know. And it's everything's beautiful about it. The layout, the book itself, the colors, all of it, design.
And it's gonna feel good when you scroll down on your Kickstarter and you just see this big red sold out across a tier.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And now, Danny just wants to get to the 5K stretch goal so he can draw more pages.
Actually, that's where Armando comes in.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Yeah. So some of the newer pages that'll be unlocked will be kind of a preview for what we got coming up next. That I'll be on. So you'll get a preview in there if we can unlock that, guys, which will be awesome.
Yep. And they put you to work because Danny's like, you know,
I know. Yeah, I mean,
I'm older than these guys. I'm tired.
Dude, I'm over here thinking like, and it's got me sweating because I'm like, dang man, Joey's gonna try to push 60 pages. I get burnt out fast. Like, I was like, oh man, gotta put on my work boots.
Yep.
And then we have mysteries after the 5K.
Mysteries.
But I mean, you're like less than $1,000 away from having to draw 10 pages.
Yeah.
And there's 23 days left.
Yeah.
Yep.
You should probably start on those pages now.
Yeah.
Complaining about Hector. Shouldn't you be lettering? Man, shouldn't you be drawing?
Right.
There's just shadows of hints of things coming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which that's what we wanted to do too is you know, we didn't want to rely on, and not saying that it's bad for other Kickstarters because it's great for other Kickstarters and other comics, but you know, we didn't want to rely on tons of, you know, different stuff and gimmicky kind of stuff and, and quick grab, cash grab kind of things. We want it to really be about the story. This is definitely a labor of love project, and so we wanted it to show that.
So now I have to ask you a couple of goofy questions because you know we have to geek out a little bit.
Go for it.
Sure. Yeah.
So we'll start at Danny. If you could work with anybody on a project in the industry, who would
Jonathan
it be
Hickman.
and why?
Jonathan Hickman, because he writes just incredible stories that are so rich, so laden with intricacies. The plot lines carry from one series to another, to a third, to a fourth. I mean, I'm thinking right now of his Marvel tenure earlier in the new millennium when he was on Fantastic Four, and then went over to Avengers and New Avengers, and then which ultimately led to Secret Wars. Man, that they're all separate books, and they all had their own individual plots and storylines, but deep underneath, it was started with the question that Reed Richards asked in the very first issue of Hickman's Fantastic Four run: how do I fix everything? And that one question carried the thread all the way through that Fantastic Four run, the Avengers and New Avengers with the incursions happening, and all the way to the Secret Wars, where at the end, instead of everything dies, everything lives, and Reed Richards had managed to figure out how to fix everything.
Well, I gotta tell you, I love his Secret Wars. I'm still like putting together my set. I've got them to like scrambled all over because beginning of 2016, I ended up landing in a coma in the hospital.
Oof.
So I had friends like pack up all my stuff. So
Yeah.
I hope when I get my collection back, it's not mangled.
Yeah.
Because then I'm gonna have to go, white guy crazy and get a sniper rifle and go hunt them all down and kill them.
But yeah,
Dude, you put a crease in one comic book, you need to die.
but yeah, Hickman, and then his current run on X-Men is just amazing.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
I still got that big fold out of the Battle Worlds.
Yeah.
That they get. Hey, it's like they're bowling upstairs. I just love that whole thing. Dr. Doom in like a white outfit. It's like
The God Doom, yes. That was
was
awesome.
I'm like, Doom finally won. Oh damn, Doom didn't win.
He did not.
But it was such a and the Hulk mini that was there, the Thor core.
Yeah.
There were like so many great like little stories, and they all like intertwined and had some type of like small, pebble in a pond effect,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joey, if you could work with one person, anyone in the field, who would it be and why?
Jeff Johns. I want to figure out how he writes. If I could co-write a story with Jeff Johns, that'd be the best thing for me. His work with the Brightest Day and Blackest Night series with the Green Lantern, he just revamped it all. And I remember going to the library and picking up the old like Rebirth novel, Green Lantern Rebirth run. And so Green Lantern was one of my favorite characters moving in. So whenever I got onto the Blackest Night, Brightest Day event, the mythology just opened up, like Red Lanterns, Blue Lanterns, Green, all of it, man. It was just so awesome. But the coolest thing about it is, as different as they were, he brought out the people inside of these weird characters, and that was the coolest thing. Like, I related to Atrocitus, and that was the weirdest thing for me. Like, I had no idea I was able to relate to that giant red alien thing. But it was cool because he was able to write characters in such a relatable way. And that's something that I hope to convey in any future projects I do. So that's why I just want to work with Jeff Johns.
Well, you might change your mind when you read the final issue of the Three Jokers, but
Hey, no spoilers, man.
I'm not spoiling it. I haven't read it either, but I got stuck in the in the non-spoiler free zone on another
I've been
podcast.
waiting for that for so long too.
All I know is he's done so much that I think he's just burnt out and he needs a break.
Yeah.
You know, because I loved all the stuff that he did, but the more Lantern cores he brought in, I was like, man, I gotta buy how many more books now?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember I was running like 4 or 5 at the time because there was Red Lanterns, Green Lantern Corps, New Guardians, and a few others. But that was a good run for me back and then.
Oh yeah, it's like that's just insane. Armando, what about you?
Man, I just want to get Bill Sienkiewicz's coffee, man. Just get his coffee, just watch him work. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Like that. I always liked comic books, but I don't know. When I started reading his stuff and seeing his Elektra run and the New Mutants and stuff, man, that kind of like blew my mind. That art could be presented that way in comic book form, you know. And then just seeing his gallery stuff and it's expressive led to so many other, I think, artists being able to break into that mold of being super creative and stuff. So definitely him. But I'm with Danny. As far as a writer, Jonathan Hickman, that dude is just, his brain is out there in outer space, and I would just love to try to do something with it if I could, any kind of thing. But yeah, I mean,
I'd kind of like to squeeze his brain just enough so we didn't go from 2X titles to 28 mutant books in a 22 arc crossover.
Yeah, I can't
and turn me from a floppy guy into a trade waiter on X-Men.
I'm definitely trying. I'm still getting them in my pool. That way, if this COVID hits twice and we're locked down, I can just go to town, man. But yeah, how the Powers of X and the House of X, dude, that was beautiful writing. The art in it was great. Just those little moments, like the one moment when Wolverine's having that, you know, really deep talk with Nightcrawler, like right in the feels, man. Like I texted Danny, I was like, Danny, are you crying? He's like, yeah, man, I'm crying. Me too. Like, oh, we felt it, man. And it's just beautiful writing. And
Yeah.
if I could be any like a part of that, like I would love to do that too. So
Now, what advice this is a double-edged sword. What advice would you give somebody that wanted to get into doing comics? And what one thing would you tell them to definitely not do besides to take a writer that's working as a waiter at a comic shop?
For me, advice, I think the boilerplate is just to keep drawing. The boilerplate, just for any artist, any writer, keep drawing, keep writing. Stick with it. Don't lose your creativity and your imagination, because that really, really helps with everything. Draw everything you can. If you're good at drawing people, maybe don't draw people for a little while. Draw cars or something, but just draw everything. We have kids when we were doing cons, they would come up to me and be like, just draw everything you see, because you're going to have to draw it one day or another. So, and I think the thing that not to do is don't think that anything has passed you by. Don't think that anything has passed you by, because shit, I'm in my 40s and this is just like my start. So
yeah,
I put comics on the back burner for the longest time, and I just got back into it recently, maybe 3-4 years ago.
What about you, Armando?
A lot of what Danny said. Also, don't take rejection too seriously, too personally. You know, a lot of these guys that are veterans, they're not telling you that, you know, maybe this isn't for you, or this book isn't for you, or that we're not using it. They're not telling you because they don't want you to succeed. These guys want the next generation of artists to come through, and they want things to be successful. They want comics to be successful. So take it with a grain of salt, and take it what they tell you seriously. There's a reason why they're professionals and why they've made it. Like, just push yourself every day, even with different utensils. Paint, do watercolor, do portraits, but don't limit yourself, because that might inspire your illustration to another level. Like you said, draw trees, draw cars, do that kind of thing. Use your imagination, be creative. Practice. I have to practice drawing panels a lot. While I've done some samples I have and stuff, I'm still pretty weak on it, but I do practice a lot, and sometimes I just draw different pages that are already published, printed, and just draw them how I would draw them. You know what I mean? And so I think that's important. If you're wanting to do a book like what we're doing, take your time with it. Make it a real passion. Don't try to get it out there so that you can have 50, 60 variants and all this kind of thing. Really dump your heart, your passion into it, your imagination, your stories, your characters. Give them life. Leave a legacy. Leave something to be remembered by. And just have fun with it, man. Comics is fun. It's fun for me. We have fun talking about our favorite characters. We won't say it out loud, but this book, this character's trash. This book's trash. Like, and we joke about it, but it's fun. That's part of it. It's fun. It's fun to have those favorite characters and stuff like that, and have fun with it, and just do that. That's what I would say.
Joey?
Man, the best advice is just make sure you love what you're doing, because this is hard, man. Like, I say it's hard, but I mean, Danny and Armando, they'll talk about like, oh man, Joey will come up here with this great idea. They'll come up with 26 pages ready to go. But before I get to that point, dude, I deal with a lot of self-doubt. I have thousands of horrible ideas. Some of them are probably really good, but I just tell myself that it's not going to work out. Get rid of that. When I start enjoying what I'm doing, when I start enjoying what I'm writing, I can't wait to find out what happens next. And that's what I can't wait for. That's what I like about writing comics, is because I get to almost relive the days, just playing in the backyard, pretending I'm Wolverine. I get to live that as I write it out. And with Danny and Armando, when you pass it on to them, when you find those like-minded people that want to do the same thing, and everybody loves what they're doing, we make something amazing. And that's exactly what we did here. We're truly fans of what we made, first and foremost. And that's the coolest thing. You just love what you do, and it doesn't feel a job. It's still going to be hard. There's going to be days where you throw away pages or just delete scripts entirely, but we love what we're doing, man, and we're pretty excited for it. What not to do, man, don't get online so much. Know when to stay off of forums. Know when to step away from other influences. There's some things that you do that will be natural and that will be awesome because it's yours, but influences make you change a few things, and it might not always be together. So just find some like-minded people, and just love what you do, and just be careful about the influences that you have around, and just make sure you're surrounded by good ones. That's it.
Yeah, keep everything positive. And you guys seem to gel like really well as a team. And the book looks great.
Thanks.
And
thank you.
For everybody watching, the link to the Kickstarter is now in the chat, so you can click on the link right there and go check it out and pledge this book, because we want to make Armando actually draw panels. Well,
you and me both. Yeah. I want to make him draw panels too.
Yeah.
As soon as that's hit, Danny's going to be calling you like every night.
Oh yeah.
And just laughing into the phone and hanging up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how excited were you guys when you got the notification today that you funded this first book?
I still don't think
I
I
got drunk.
that in.
Oh, so you're gonna go to another drinking draw. We get it.
I wanted to drink and work on commissions, man.
I know all I heard from Armando the other night when he was on his live stream when I dropped the link to the Kickstarter and his, and I was like, all I heard was like, man, I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for nothing. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm glad you put stuff away long enough to join us and enjoy this night of basically celebration, because you guys funded and you're only $900 away from drawing battle.
I honestly hope we can go the full. It'll be a lot of work to do the full 8K, but man, it'd be awesome to do that.
To break big records like that.
Yeah. This is something that the comic.
Yeah.
This is something that comics needs. Not saying that there's bad stuff out there, but this is what like we said kind of in the original Joey's the video for the Kickstarter. This is, not only were we faced with rejection, but we read comics too, and we like reading comics, and we wanted something that's different, that's missing from comics. Not saying that stuff's bad, but just something that's new, fresh, that's missing, and this is definitely it, man. And
yeah, well, I got to tell you, because I was around. I was probably Joey's age, but I was around when the big boom of the indies in the '80s hit, and those books were, a lot of that stuff came out. Those guys all went on to be legends, and I've never seen such a love for indie comics as I have in like the last year or two now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been, getting better and better. Plus you have guys that are like big names that, have quit or moved on because they get sick of the corporate stuff from, the big two, like, Graham Nolan just wanted to go and do his own thing. And, he's no Keanu Reeves. So, he didn't hit like $1.5 million, but, about a month ago, his project there, the Canoe, that he's been peddling for like over 6 months, because he did the Kickstarter and then he waited a little bit. And he did the Indiegogo.
Yeah.
He just hit like 80K like about a month ago.
Jeez, that's awesome.
So and I mentioned him for a couple of reasons. One, I covered Rhode Island Comic-Con last November, before the Plague of Plagues hit. And I actually got to hang out with Graham Nolan, Bill McKay, Neil Adams, Mike Grell, Christopher Priestley.
Oh, wow.
So I was in heaven. But, I got to talk to them and hear their, things that they had going on, and just their takes on where the industry was and what was going on. And they were most of them were all like, indies are coming up big. He goes, I've got like Graham was like, I got like 2 or 3 indie projects coming up. This of course was his first one. Yeah, he's got like a couple other collaborations coming up. Will was on the other night, and he broke the news that he has a collaboration. Him and Chuck Dixon are doing a book.
Wow,
are working on a book coming up. So,
it's a time. It's definitely a time for creating. That's for sure.
Well, it's the perfect time because most of us have been stuck in the house, for most of the year. So
exactly.
it's a it's perfect. It's perfect for that, and it's just crazy because I know down in Florida there's a big store down there called The Collective, and they can't get enough indie books.
Wow.
Like they'll get new indie books, and they get when they get like a new shipment of indie books, they'll buy like every if they've got like multiple covers and like signed editions, whatever, they'll buy multiples of them, and when they unpack that box, it goes prominently on display at the front counter of the store.
Wow.
And they do a huge indie business, and a Texas shop there, Space Cadets, Jen King.
I'll be back, guys.
Does a huge indie business. She's got like an entire row and an end cap in her store that's nothing but indie comics. And she gets in like new indie comics like on a weekly basis. So,
Awesome.
I mean, everybody wants them because they figure if they're gonna pay $5, $10, $20 for a new book on the shelf, they don't want to buy that 8 pages of new story from DC with all reprints in the back, or the same for Marvel, and then Marvel will put like some reprint that has nothing to do with the character or the story in the back of some of them, and it's like $12, $20. They'd rather buy something new, different, a different take on stuff, new ideas, new art, and just let it go.
You know what I miss? I miss the one and done stories that you used to find in like old issues of the Avengers or the X-Men or something, or it's just like one story in 24 pages, and then the next issue it was something else. I miss those stories.
Yeah, I think we called that the 80s.
Yeah. Or the two-part story arc. Now everything is at least six issues.
Yeah, well, we can blame Joey's
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
We can blame Joey's boy there,
Yeah,
Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns and
17-year story spans and
Bendis, Brian Michael Bendis, who is the master of decompressing stories.
Man, I hate that guy. Look, and here's why. He came over, they gave him the biggest character DC has, Superman. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, Jor-El's alive again. Zod's alive again. And, their son, who was hanging out with Damian Wayne, is all of a sudden, like 23 years old. And then he destroyed like the Legion of Superheroes. And, I was more mad because Legion of Superheroes was the first teen book that I read and fell in love with. It's still my favorite teen book. Just not. I tried to read his, and I'm like, it just, he picks a point, I think 10 years in the future that he wants to get to, and then takes the slowest road with all the detours on it that he can to get there. And I'm like, you can speed up a little bit. I'm old. I'm not senile yet. I can keep up with this stuff. That was the best thing that Legion of Superheroes did for me when I was a kid. If you can follow continuity in Legion of Superheroes, you can follow any screwed up continuity going on nowadays.
Yeah.
So, start with Danny. Tell us something that you're reading now that you would recommend for other people.
I'm reading the Strange Adventures really liking that. But I like the slow burn of Tom King's writing. I like that. I like that. The Mr. Miracle book. His Batman was a little high reaching.
It
I
started really good and then went.
it yeah. I think it did because he knew he was gonna to himself. He knew he was gonna end at 100 issues, and I think he just started to short time it at that point. It was like, yeah, I've only got so many issues left, and the writing was really starting to fall apart. But I'm really liking the Strange Adventures. Out of all the X-Men titles, I'm only reading X-Men. And that's really good. Even though there's like a big 22-page crossover or 22 issue crossover, I'm still like I can go back. I can flip through and like kind of like, all right, I see what's going on.
Did you read that book? No, but I flipped through. I got the gist of it.
Yeah, I flipped through it, and if I need to go back, I will. But I'm pretty sure sword fights.
Yeah, really. You know, there's some crazy stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
I go, I'm not buying any more X books. I'm just going to buy the trades, and I'll just sit down and read the whole thing out, and that's it. And then I went and I bought like a handful of the issues because I had to have the Alex Ross covers.
So that I think that's it. That's it. Of stuff that I'm reading. I'm waiting for Batman, Catwoman. I'm waiting for the Eternals. I really love Assad Ribbit work, and waiting for that. The crossover book from Donny Cates, and yeah, and the Adam Hughes Hellboy book coming out next in 2 weeks. Yeah, so I mean that's what I'm looking forward to in the short term.
Cool. What about you, Joey?
I'm a real big fan of Firepower by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney right now. It's a fun little kung fu story. I'm a big fan of it. I love the way they introduced it, like we're releasing the OGN first and then started releasing the issues. That was really cool. I love the idea of it.
Yeah, that whole series is on fire.
See what you did?
Quite literally. What about you, Armando?
I just I've been trying to keep up with the X-Men stuff, like Danny said, the New Mutants. I'm kind of going back to read. I'm like right now I'm really big into Ron Garney, so I'm going back to read the Daredevil run that he's doing, and started the Juggernaut series, which is actually really good. Surprisingly, because I'm not big into those like little short, like 6 issue kind of,
Yeah.
We're gonna feature a character, but it's actually pretty good. For DC, the Strange Adventures is really great. Mitch Gerards I love his stuff too. And then I'm going back and just reading a bunch of older X-Men stuff. Right now I'm kind of in the phase of like doing the collecting. But yeah, I read the new what is it? With Sean Gordon Murphy, the Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah.
Harley Quinn.
The white
cool.
Harley Quinn issue.
Yeah,
I've only read the first issue, but it looks pretty good, and the art on it is great.
Matteo Scalera.
Yeah. I'm still kind of reading Decorum. I don't know if I really like it yet. It's pretty cool.
That is a book that I'm reading. It's another one that's kind of out there. Decorum, man.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the design aesthetic of it. It looks really good.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool part of it. For me, it's just really, really reading stuff in continuation because I wait to get my pull list, so I have 3 or 4 issues of a book, and then I never get to it until later, and then by then I've missed one issue or whatnot. So
You get them, you want to read
I
them,
jump around a lot in my reading.
you're too busy,
What's
and then
that?
you go back. You got like a short box of books that you haven't read yet.
Have to like, so I have to like commissions too, regular commissions that I have to pay bills and stuff, and with as far as my work and Danny does too, but the job that I have, a day job, doesn't really do that. That's more for like health benefits and stuff like that. So I don't sleep too much. That's why you see my live videos at like 3 or 4 in the morning, trying to get people to.
And I get on your live videos because I'm old and my bladder woke me up at 3:30 in the morning, and Armando's still talking and drawing.
Yeah, but yeah, those are the ones that I think I'm kind of really reading for the most part. I'm sure there's some other ones that I'm forgetting, but and I'm not a Ninja Turtles fan, but I'm really excited about this Last Ronin thing. I like those kind of little.
I would be if I could have gotten a copy.
So
I hit up I contacted 7 stores around me, and they were all sold out of Last Ronin.
Wow.
Man.
All sold out of Last Ronin, and all sold out of Batgirl 50.
Oh.
Because Joker War, and it's a tie-in to Joker War, and it's also the final issue of this Batgirl run.
Yeah.
And the cover is dope. And I'm like, I love the cover. I go, oh, that's great. It's a double-sized issue. It looks cool. I'd be like, before it even got shipped, it was already selling on eBay for $20.
That's Robbie's drawing that, right? Robbie Rodriguez, is that the one he's drawing?
Mm-hmm. I've been hearing lots of talk that that Batgirl 50, in no time at all, you're going to be hearing that skyrocketing, like jumping right up to like $50. It's already hit. Yeah. It's already hitting 20. So,
and that's part of like me collecting too as a collector, because man, I don't think I've ever paid anything over $20 for a comic book, like, and that's because I wanted to read it and it was $20. But I don't think I paid like 50 or 60 or for variants. So some books I just don't get because they're just go up in price, or
I think the most I paid for a book was well,
at least
I bought like a short stack off a guy that came in the store when I was working one day when I was covering, and the owner didn't want to buy anything, and it's I'm going to buy all these comics during the summer, and now it's time to go back to college, and now I'm going to sell all this stuff so I can buy stuff to go to college with. And he walked in with a whole bunch of X-Men, 2 copies of first appearance of Gambit, and the original Wolverine miniseries.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I split it with the store because I was buying on their dime. So I took the Wolverine miniseries and the 2 Gambit first appearances, and I gave him the rest, which was like a stack like this of Uncanny X-Men stuff.
I've been having to give my comics away. Like, I don't have time to like place eBay sellings or try to. So like literally when the friends come into my wife's shop, I'm like, hey Joey, you want to come pick out some comics, or we'll have a drink and draw, and I'll be like, come to drink and draw and you get 5 free comics. Like, I'm just trying to get rid of because I have so much.
Just make sure you're not giving away like an issue that you could actually take like 10 minutes to sell for like $100.
Yeah, but I don't see. I don't think I've ever like been into that way. If I had a, to me, valuable comics to me they're not worth anything. They're stuff that I grew up reading, and I mean it's 98. I'd give it, I'd sell it for like $50 if I could, or $40, or Batman Adventures number, whatever, first appearance of Harley Quinn. I don't think I would ever try to be trying to get the most for it or a good amount, because if I don't want to read it, it's just it's not in the cards. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been that kind of mindset with comics. I think it's just because I grew up with them. I mean, I inherited a lot of my dad's collection, and he's got some old stuff in there, and those were just great to me. Seeing all like Kirby stuff, and then when comics started getting popular and started being worth something, and I was like, oh, that's cool, they're worth something, but I still treasure it for a different reason. So,
well, it's just like unless I find that I like bought extra copies, I never get rid of anything Batman, because that's where my love for comics began, was watching the Batman TV show, then all the comics, and everything else.
and I also can't remember what I buy, so sometimes I
Hector wants all your comics.
That Mexico shipping's pretty expensive, man.
And the next time Joey goes down there, we'll send them with him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll smuggle them.
I actually have a Mexican edition comic of Detective 880.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
It was they did a special edition, but they used that one. They used the Mexican variant of 880 like 2 years ago at San Diego Comic-Con for exclusive. So it's kind of like a shiny cover on it. But I got mine, and it's triple signed.
That's pretty cool. I think Hector's done for the Mexican versions of the Fantastic Four, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has. It's been cool.
Oh yeah.
So I'll never sell that one. And somewhere in my collection, I've got 2 raw copies of 882. But certain things like Batman, like I've still got the first comic I ever bought, and I'm like 3 issues away. When I was a kid, I loved the Batman family series, because it was they did a Superman family and they did a Batman family. And I had like 1 or 2 of the Superman families, but I've still got the majority of all the Batman families I had when I was a kid. And they were just, nice, fat, like 80-page books, dollars, like multiple stories in them, all new stuff. And it was just, I just loved it. But either way, we want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Anytime. Congratulations on funding. Armando, congratulations on having to draw those 10 pages.
I'm excited. I don't show it, but I'm stoked. I'm ready.
And good luck with this whole universe. I hope
Thank you.
Takes off, and I hope you guys hit the long stretch goals, because they're just shadows with locks on them. I want to see
those are
Yeah.
cool too. Those are really cool too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you until you unlock them.
So guys, go check out the Kickstarter. The link is right here in the comments. It is also in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you watch this. And check out the new universe. Until next time, this is Phil Forever. And we'll see you next time, guys.